So, why C programming? The wise man once said, if you are good in C programming, you are best in any other programming languages like hello all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Career Advice. So, hope you are liking the weather. It's holiday time, it's winter time. Hope you are enjoying your time with your friends, family, and colleagues. During this time, let's learn something new. Let's learn something exciting. And we have come up with another exciting program, another exciting series called C programming. So, why C programming? The wise man once said, if you are good in C programming, you are best in any other programming languages like Java, Python, ABAP, etc. and etc. To your understanding, it is the most demanded language in the corporate world. It is the top 5 demanding language in the corporate world. It has a lot of job opportunities out there. You can check out the snippet over here. It is very easy to understand. It is very easy to execute. And I mean, I can go on and on and on it. But without getting sidetracked, let's begin the game. Thank you.
Okay, hi, good morning. So this is the first session for our complete C in 4 hours. So today we'll start from the beginning and let's start then. So if we discuss what exactly is the language. So language is nothing, it's a tool or a method of communication. It consists of thoughts and we need to convert those thoughts into words or in a expressive way to convey our feelings to a person, right? So like speech, writing, some gestures or signs by which we can communicate our thoughts or feelings to others. So mostly from that the language concept begin and it's a communication tool. Just not within the human beings, it's a communication tool with other animals as well. But human beings are more developed, more intelligent. That's how the communication skills of human beings are developed. So we have writing languages, we have vocal languages, we have sign languages. So these are three type of languages available in this world. Like writing languages means we have script for the languages. Okay, so those are developed languages. There are languages which are only used during the communication vocally. Okay, so that is mostly used for speech or communication by talking. Similarly, people who can't talk or write, they can also communicate through the signs, that is sign language or through the gestures. So the whole world is having these three kind of languages. Now, if we come to the computer world also needs some language because computer is a machine and human being and machine need to communicate. Now, how do they communicate? So the that communication tool is called computer languages. So again, it's very similar to general language. Computer language is a tool to convey our logic or instruction to the system. Now here the system means the machine, right? Now, if we consider the machine can understand only two stuff, off or on, or high or low. That means either we can say yes or no. So that logical stuff is converted into 0 and 1. We call that binary number system. So the system or the machine can understand only 0 and 1. Now the language which actually uh, understood by the machine is called low level language, or we call that machine level language. Now that machine level language is in 0 and 1 is so difficult the human being to write or instruct to the machine quicker, right? So that's how human beings need a high level language. High level language means like English type language by which we can write the instructions, and if that will be converted into low level language, then the machine can understand. And the whole concept of different computer language is to make it so easier for the human beings to create the logics and instructions that machine can understand. Now, machine can understand low level language, human being can understand high level language. So how we can uh, bridge that gap? Now, there are concepts called compiler and interpreter. Now, these compilers, what they do, they convert the high level language into low level language. That means whatever instruction we write in English type language, it will convert that into low level language or 01, right? That means it converts the high level language, which is easier to understand and write for a human being, to a machine level language, which is understood by machines. Okay. If we understand about C, so before C, let's understand how many types of languages in the computer world. Like as I mentioned, in our human world, we use three type of languages: writing languages or scripted languages. Then we have vocal languages or speech using for communication by talking. Then we have sign languages. Similarly, in the computer world, we have four kind of languages. One is monolithic language, which are very instruction level language, which is mostly understood by the microprocessors. Now, microprocessors are the central units of a system. Okay. So microprocessor understand monolithic type of language. We call them mnemonics language. Okay. Similarly, we have structured language, which has a procedure or rule in which the language need to be defined a structural format. So that is a structured language. Then we have procedural language, and we have object-oriented programming languages. So mostly the object-oriented programming languages are popular these days, like Java, C++, Pythons. But before that, we have very popular language is called C. C is a language which we can define like imperative procedural language supporting structured programming. Now, procedural language means there should be a set of instruction or process by which we need to define our instructions. And it also supports structured programming. Structured programming means we have to define a programming structure. Within that, we need to define our instructions, right? So C we can define as imperative procedural language, okay, which supported by the structured programming, and it was developed by Dennis Ritchie. Now, it's not developed directly. There is a history for C, okay? So C initially developed in AT&T lab, used Unix operating system. But if we go through the history, we can understand the language development process started 1960. We have a language called ALGOL or A language. Then the AT&T lab developed BCPL, okay. Then B language come into picture, okay. Then again, the basic C language comes into picture, which is in 1972 by Dennis Ritchie. So now it is 2022, okay, it's around 50 years by now. So Dennis Ritchie developed in 1972 the traditional C, and slowly there are different compilers or C programming processes are developed, like K and RC, ANSI C, ANSI or ISOC, then C99, lot of C compilers developed. Now, when I'm saying different C, that means there are different C compilers. So there are a lot of C languages nowadays, more than 200 types. C compilers are available, but mostly the ANSI C, Turbo C, C99 are popular, or GCC are popular. Now, why we should learn C, even if it is developed almost in 1972 and it's introduced into the market 50 years back, still C is a relevant language. There is a site called Popularity of Programming Language, and I picked this index in the month of November, and what I observed that still C is the fifth popular language in the market. Okay, and one of the most amazing thing is that if you learn C, you can learn many languages like C Sharp, Swift, Go, Python. So the base language is C. So C is still popular and relevant in the market. Yeah, it loses its popularity, but the trending is still there. So in the top 10 or 11 languages, you can see C is in the fifth spot. That means the relevance of C is still there. People are learning C and it is popular among the students and people who are working with the machine directly or machine interfaces, particularly in device drivers. Okay, so that means C has a motivation to learn. And if you learn C very well, you can learn other languages quickly. That is another motivation as well. If we understand the features of C, why it is so popular, there are many features for C which make it popular, but the four most important features is number one is the simplicity of C. C is very simple to learn and to understand, but it also have a complex part of pointers which is directly linking to the system memory. Now, as the memory is directly linked to C, that means we can develop some programs which are very faster in nature, whereas other programs are not directly linked to the memories. Okay, it linked to the memories through its processes, its compilers, but in C, we can directly check which particular memory location we are storing the data. So those concepts are pointers, and as C holds the pointer concept, we can make the programs which are directly interactive with the machine. Okay, then it's portable. Portable means by using C, we can develop small to larger programs. Memory management. So as I mentioned, we can directly interacting with the memory. So we also manage the memory based on our requirement from the program itself. So memory management is one of the major stuff in C as well. So these are most features which are making the C so rich that it is still relevant there. Now we understand why we should learn C. We understand some of the features. Now for a language, what we need? We need some keywords. Okay. So in C also we have keywords. We have 32 reserved keywords. That means when I'm saying the 32 reserved keywords means if this keyword will appear in our program, the compiler automatically understand what would be the operation of these keywords. Okay, so that's how there are 32 keywords. You can see all are listed below: auto, break, case, char, const, continue, default, do, all are there. Okay, so all 32 keywords will study in detail in our sessions. Now, we understand there are 32 reserved keywords, but we need to understand how we'll write the program. What is the grammar of the program? Okay, to understand the grammar of the program, we need to understand the structure of the program, how we can write. Now, the C program mostly divided into 7 sections. Okay, like it is, we understand it's divided into 7 sections. Based on other important stuff, we can make it 6 or 8. Okay, but mostly it is divided into 7 sections. The first section is document section, in which section we are defining the details about the program. So document section is not comes under the compilation. It is only the information which we are giving to the people who are studying the program, right? That means if you are writing some program and you need to put one heading, which kind of program you are developing. You are developing your first program, so you can write my first program, right? So that is comes under documentation section. Now documentation section again divided into two types. You can put your document in a single line or in multiple lines. So if you put your document in single line, you just need to use double slash. You can see here in the example. If you want to put in double lines, you need to put slash with asterisk and at the end asterisk with slash. So these are two type of comments we can put in the program, which will be mostly used for the documentation, and it is useful for the programmers. The next section is called link section. As I mentioned, C used compilers to convert the program into a low-level program. Now, when it's used the compiler also holds the header files. Header files means which holds different kind of functions in its library. So those header files we can call during our program execution. Now, when we are calling that, that means we need to link them to our program. So that's how we have a section called link section, which start with has and include. You can see has include stdio.h. Now, stdio.h is standard input output header by which we can call the standard input output processes. So that is called link section. Similarly, we have a definition section where we can define a value globally. So like here, you can see has defined pi 3.14. You can define 3.141. Any value you can define at the definition section. Similarly, global declaration section. You can put any of the like what kind of output or input you need. For that, you need some variables. Those variable declaration you can do under the global declaration section. Then now the compiler need to know from which particular point the program is started. Okay, so that is like a benchmark. From that perspective, from that point, the whole program will be start. Now that particular point we call the main section or main function. Now main with two parentheses, it will be reflecting as the main section. And when the compiler start executing the program, it will first hit the main section, and below that it slowly go through each of the lines based on the calling procedures. Okay, and below main section you can call the sub program sections, right? So main section mostly used by the compiler to understand the starting of the program, and it's a mandatory in a C program. So if we understand the structure of the C program, then let's understand what would be the input and output in C. Okay, so now as I mentioned in our link section, we are using stdio.h by which we can do the standard input output function. So the standard input out function also use two functions which are inbuilt in the library. First one is called printf function. Now you can see here the syntax of the printf function equals to printf parenthesis started with double quote, and it's go on with the format of the string like whatever you need to mention, and finally it will be end with the parenthesis and semicolon. Okay, so in C language, whenever we write the program, we need to put the semicolon. Similarly, we have a scanf function used in input, and when we call that scanf, similarly parenthesis and the format of the string, then argument list and semicolon. So these two functions you remember because these are used as input and output. In between that, there are processes and storage happening in a program. Now, let's write the first program. So if we write the first program, you can see this is the documentation section where I put slash asterisk and put the string my first program in C, star and asterisk, or / okay. Then we have link section where include stdio.h is there. Then we have a main section. Then we use our output function printf parenthesis started double quotation hello C, I am arrived, and parenthesis end semicolon return 0. So as I mentioned here, there is a output we need which is return 0. So it will go to here. That means it will initialize the memory. So let's write this program. Now before writing this program, we need to install the compiler. Okay, so let's install the compiler first. Okay, so to install the compiler, you need to go to this site www.codeblocks.org/downloads. Now once you go there, you can see download the binary release. Okay, in your system. Once you go there, then in step 2, you need to choose the code block and the structured sourceforge.net. From here, you can download the C compiler. And once it is downloaded, start installation. Once it is get installed, you need to agree on the licensing and just put next, 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 and it will be installed in your system. Okay, let's go back to our desktop and check. So you can see here the code block is installed. I just open that. It's an open source, so anybody can use. No licensing for that. Now, once it is open, you need to create a new file. Okay, so our new file. You can start with a project like empty project. Okay, go for that. You can put any name. Let it be first program C. Okay. Then next, finish. Right. So here you can see there are different locations where you can put your files and projects by creating them, or you can go to the source and you can put the you can see the source code. So let's start by creating one simple program. Okay. So file, new. So so I'm created a new file which is untitled 1, and we need to try our first C program here. Okay. So first we need to put the documentation section. Okay. So in documentation section, we can put our first C program or first C program. Okay, then we need to go to the link section. Okay, in the link section, we need to link the header. So to link the header, we need to call the include. Okay, and then we need to put stdio.h. Okay. So then we need to start the main function. So first, let's start with main, then function. Then we need to start with the polybrass or polybracket. Okay, that means from the main section it is started. Then we need to use the printf function, okay, to print our first sentence in C. So we need to start with the double quote. Hello, I am arrived. Okay, then we need to put the semicolon here. Okay, and then we need to compile. Okay, so for compilation, we have options here. You can compile and run or build and run. So let's build and run. Now untitled is there. You can give a name. First program, first C. Okay, so I just put first C and 1 as the name and save. So you can see it is changed and it is executed. So press any key to continue. You can see the output is already there. Hello, I am arrived. So this is our first program. So you can see the documentation section, the links section, the main section, the output section. But to initialize that, you can put as int, return as 0. And as you are returning a 0, we need to put an integer in the main section. Okay, so you can compile or run. So you can see there is no impact, but the return 0, that means it is initialized. Okay, so press any key and go back. So this is our first program. From our structure, we can understand, we can use some comments in the C programming. We can link the libraries in C. Okay, we can use the main section to make understand the compiler that the C program started from which point. We are using the polybrace or poly bracket to start and end of the program, and we use the printf to show the output. Okay, then return 0. Okay, and closing bracket to end the program. Okay, so that's where our first session will be completed. We'll again start the session with the data types in C.
Guys, if you are liking our channel, if you are thinking that we are putting good efforts to make good contents over here, then please do like, subscribe, share, and press the bell icon below. Thank you.